Dave Thompson woke up late. Not, I missed my alarm by 5 minutes, late, more like, I just slept through first contact with an alien species, late. It wasn't that Dave wasn't interested in aliens. He was a scientist, after all. He just had a unique ability to fumble important moments. So naturally, on the day he was supposed to meet an advanced extraterrestrial race, Dave was tangled in his sheets, bleary-eyed, and already an hour behind schedule. The message on his phone from Control read: Zogoths have arrived. ETA, 15 minutes. Get to the landing site. Dave blinked twice, trying to process the message. Asterisk Zogoths? Here. Today? Asterisk he had completely forgotten. The Zogoths were an alien race that had sent a signal weeks ago announcing their peaceful arrival. The government, in their infinite wisdom, decided Dave, a mid-level physicist who accidentally discovered a key principle in space-time mechanics, should be the first to greet them. They figured his unconventional thinking would be a benefit. Dave wasn't so sure. Still in his pajamas, Dave stumbled out of bed, nearly tripping over a stack of old research papers. How did I let this happen? He muttered, frantically searching for pants. He found a semi-clean pair crumpled under his desk, threw them on, and bolted out the door, still trying to comb his unruly hair with his fingers. The landing site was an isolated stretch of desert, far from prying eyes and trigger-happy governments. By the time Dave arrived, panting and disheveled, a crowd of serious-looking military officials and scientists were already there, glaring at him. Thompson, you're late, barked General Henderson, a tall, stern man who looked like he ate nails for breakfast. His face was red with impatience. I'm, here now. Dave replied, flashing a weak smile. The general was not amused. Get in position. You're the one they've asked for. Dave gulped. The Zogoths had specifically requested to meet the mind behind the breakthrough in spacetime manipulation. Dave wasn't sure why, but apparently, they saw him as some sort of genius. If only they knew. A deep hum reverberated through the air. The sky darkened as a sleek, silver ship descended slowly toward the ground. The craft was massive, yet eerily quiet, like it was folding the air around it rather than displacing it. Dave watched in awe as it landed, kicking up a soft cloud of sand. The doors slid open with a hiss, and out stepped 3 towering figures. The Zogoths were at least 7 feet tall, with shimmering green skin and elongated limbs. Their faces were surprisingly human-like, but with glowing eyes and no visible mouths. Dave felt a lump in his throat. I'm really doing this, he thought, heart pounding. He took a tentative step forward. One of the Zogoths raised a hand in a gesture that could have been a greeting, or a warning. Then, without warning, the alien's translator malfunctioned, blasting a garbled, high-pitched noise that sent everyone scrambling. Dave's mouth fell open. Oh no, he whispered. This is going to be a disaster. Dave stood frozen, the screeching noise from the Zogoth translator still ringing in his ears. Around him, military officials were scrambling to cover their ears, while the scientists frantically waved devices around, trying to identify the problem. Someone fix that. General Henderson barked, red-faced as usual. But the translation device continued its electronic wailing, oblivious to the chaos it was causing. Dave, unsure of what to do, stepped forward cautiously. Hello?" he stammered, waving awkwardly at the Zogoths. The lead alien, still holding his hand in what seemed to be a friendly gesture, tilted his head, confused. The other 2 Zogoths exchanged glances, their glowing eyes flickering like malfunctioning LEDs. Great, Dave muttered to himself. Their first impression of humanity is going to be us fumbling with our own tech. Just as Dave finished his thought, the screeching stopped. A moment of silence hung in the air, broken only by the distant whirring of the alien ship. Everyone seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief. But then, things got weirder. The Zogoth leader, apparently thinking that the noise had been part of a human greeting ritual, mimicked the sound. A low, warbling noise emerged from his throat, followed by a series of what could only be described as awkward alien dance moves, a combination of stiff waving and what looked like air guitar. The other two Zogoths quickly joined in, flailing their elongated limbs in what Dave guessed was an attempt to imitate human communication. Dave stared in disbelief. Are they trying to dance? The officials and scientists around him exchanged baffled looks, unsure whether to be horrified or amused. General Henderson, however, was decidedly not amused. What in the hell is going on? The general muttered, his eyes narrowing at the spectacle before him. Thinking fast, Dave stepped forward again, trying to salvage the situation. He had no idea what the Zogoths thought they were doing, but if this was their way of communicating, he'd have to go along with it. Suppressing a cringe, he awkwardly mimicked the Zogoths' dance, waving his arms in the same exaggerated way and making a few half-hearted warbling sounds of his own. The Zogoths stopped mid-motion, their glowing eyes now fixed on Dave. For a moment, he feared he'd offended them, but then the leader nodded approvingly. The Zogoths, apparently satisfied, stopped dancing and resumed their solemn, towering posture. I think they understood me," Dave said, glancing over at Henderson, who was rubbing his temples like he had a massive headache. "Fantastic," the general grumbled. "Our first contact with an advanced alien race, and you've turned it into a dance-off." Dave winced. Well, at least they seem happy. But the misunderstanding didn't end there. As the Zogoths began speaking again, their translator crackled to life, finally stabilizing into something intelligible. "Greetings, Earth Leader," the alien said in a mechanical voice. "Your war ritual was most impressive. We are prepared for negotiation." Dave's stomach sank. War ritual? Negotiation? He glanced nervously at General Henderson, who was glaring at him, his patience clearly at its limit. "Oh no," Dave muttered under his breath. This wasn't going well at all. The misunderstanding escalated quickly. Once the Zogoths interpreted Dave's awkward dance as a declaration of Earth's military prowess, things spiraled out of control. They believed humanity had issued a challenge, and being a race that respected strength above all else, they began preparing for what they thought was an inevitable conflict. Dave, now unwittingly labeled as Earth's supreme military strategist, was thrown into the middle of a galactic misunderstanding that could lead to war. Back at the military base, panic spread like wildfire. General Henderson was livid. "What do you mean they think we're going to war?" he growled, pacing back and forth in front of a frazzled Dave. "I don't know," Dave said, holding his hands up. "I just waved my arms and made some noises. How was I supposed to know they'd interpret it as a challenge?" "Thompson, if we don't fix this, Earth is going to be invaded," the general snapped. The Zogoths, meanwhile, had set up a perimeter around their ship. Their massive figures loomed over the humans, speaking in cryptic alien languages while their high-tech weapons gleamed ominously in the sunlight. They weren't attacking, yet, but their preparations made it clear they were ready for a fight. Henderson slammed his fist on the table. "We need to show them we're not hostile." But Dave, ever the reluctant hero, had a different idea. "Look, I think I know how to handle this," he said, nervously glancing at the alien ship. "They don't understand how we communicate. Everything we've done so far has been misinterpreted. So maybe, we just lean into it." Henderson narrowed his eyes. "What do you mean, lean into it?" "I mean, let's confuse them on purpose," Dave said, his voice picking up momentum. "They think we're some kind of chaotic, unpredictable race, right? Let's show them that our strategies are so advanced, they can't make sense of them. We hit them with randomness." The general raised an eyebrow. "Randomness?" "Yes. The more unpredictable we are, the more it'll throw them off. They'll have no idea what to expect, and that might convince them we're too dangerous to mess with. Henderson looked dubious, but he was out of options. Fine. You're the supreme strategist, after all. Let's see what you've got. Within hours, Dave had rallied a makeshift defense team, if you could call it that. It consisted of whoever was available, from local engineers to curious civilians, even a pizza delivery guy who had shown up at the base by mistake. Together, they crafted an assortment of bizarre, makeshift weapons, a potato cannon outfitted with laser pointers, DIY drones made from old radios, and a series of traps using duct tape, fishing line, and whatever else they could find. When the Zogoths saw the humans assembling these chaotic contraptions, they hesitated. Their scanners, calibrated to detect advanced technology, couldn't make heads or tails of the hodgepodge human creations. To the Zogoths, it looked like Earth was preparing for some unconventional, terrifyingly unpredictable battle. As night fell, the Zogoth leader approached Dave with his glowing eyes narrowing. "Your strategies defy logic," the translator crackled. "We withdraw for now. But we will return to negotiate your terms of peace." The Zogoths retreated, leaving behind a confused but relieved group of humans. Dave exhaled in disbelief. Somehow, against all odds, Earth had outmaneuvered the Zogoths, using nothing but chaos and confusion. "Well," Dave muttered, "I guess unpredictability really is our greatest weapon." The morning after the Zogoths' sudden retreat, Dave sat in the conference room, sipping bad coffee and trying to process what had just happened. He wasn't exactly sure how Earth had avoided a full-scale invasion, but here he was, alive, and somehow hailed as the supreme strategist who had saved the planet with a potato cannon and some duct tape. General Henderson, arms crossed, stood beside him, still trying to make sense of it all. "So let me get this straight," he said, his voice filled with disbelief. "You confused the most advanced race we've ever encountered into leaving?" Yeah, pretty much," Dave replied, feeling more awkward than proud. "I mean, they're used to highly logical tactics. We just gave them unpredictability." Before Henderson could respond, a familiar hum filled the room. The Zogoth ship was descending again, hovering just above the ground outside the base. Dave's stomach knotted. "Oh no, they're back." The doors of the ship hissed open, and the Zogoth leader stepped out once more, flanked by two of his tall, glowing-eyed companions. This time, however, there was no sign of aggression, just cautious curiosity. Dave stood awkwardly as the Zogoths approached. "Please tell me we don't have to dance again," he muttered under his breath. The Zogoth leader raised a hand in what Dave now recognized as their version of a peaceful greeting. "Supreme Strategist," the mechanical voice of the translator buzzed. "We have reconsidered. Your planet's chaotic tactics are beyond comprehension. We wish to learn from you." Dave blinked. "Wait, what?" "We seek to understand how a race so disorganized could outmaneuver us," the Zogoth continued. "Your unpredictability is a strength we had not considered. We propose an alliance, an exchange of knowledge. You teach us chaos." Dave stared at the alien leader, his brain trying to catch up. "You want to learn from us? About chaos?" The Zogoth leader nodded solemnly, as if this was the most serious proposition in the galaxy. "Yes. Your strategic randomness may hold the key to overcoming more orderly civilizations." Henderson, who had been listening in stunned silence, leaned toward Dave. "Are they serious? They want to study chaos?" Dave sighed. "I guess so. I mean, if we've taught them anything, it's that they can't predict what we'll do next." The general raised an eyebrow, still struggling to process the idea of an intergalactic race taking notes on Earth's random tactics. "Well, Thompson, congratulations. You've managed to turn first contact into the weirdest diplomatic arrangement in history." Later that day, Dave found himself seated across from the Zogoth leader, surrounded by stacks of papers and holographic projectors, trying to explain human behavior to the confused alien. They had started with basic concepts: irony, sarcasm, and Dave's personal favorite, procrastination. The Zogoths listened intently, their glowing eyes flickering as they struggled to grasp why humans often didn't follow logic at all. By the end of the day, Dave was exhausted, but oddly relieved. The threat of invasion had passed, and somehow, he had turned it into a learning opportunity, for both sides. The Zogoths left with a promise to return for more lessons, and Earth was safe, at least for now. As the alien ship disappeared into the sky, Dave leaned back in his chair, shaking his head. "I can't believe they think chaos is a strategy." Henderson gave a rare grin. "Well, it worked, didn't it? You saved the planet by being exactly what you are, a mess." Dave smiled. Maybe being a disorganized, underprepared scientist wasn't so bad after all. And just like that, Earth had an unlikely new alliance, one built on chaos, confusion, and a bit of dumb luck.